Hi, welcome to Dalet MEDIATalks. I'm Jonathan Kutsavatsky. Right now at the Dalet booth at NAB 2017 with Bill Roberts from Adobe.
Hi, I'm Bill Roberts. I'm the Senior Director of Product Management for Adobe. That means I take care of all the products, all the services, and most importantly, all of the partnerships that help us make great video and audio workflow. Dalet's a really important part of our equation because so many of our customers have chosen to do media asset management with their solutions, but also workflow orchestration with their solutions. So to us, a great partner is somebody who really focuses on the same thing we do, making sure a creator, when they sit down in front of the software, has a unified experience and they can focus all their energy on telling their story and as being as creative as they possibly can. So this relationship has been fantastic. So when you sit down and you're working at a Dalet Adobe workflow, it feels unified and you get your job done faster.
Great. Tell us a little bit about the partnership between Dalet and Adobe.
Now, this is actually a great partnership. So one of the things we do, as well as developing our own features, we try to make sure our products are open platforms. And that's really important because there's a lot of things we don't do, but partners like Dalet do awesomely. So we have very deep integration. We just call it the panel API, but underneath that, there's hooks into all of the deep media services. We can put media, get media, create sequences, all kinds of stuff, all the things you'd normally do in the application. And what that means is we're able to take all the goodness that Dalet brings in terms of media asset management and workflow orchestration and connect it into a single experience. And we find that is the most compelling thing. If someone who's creative can sit down and just see media and start working with it, but under the hood, so many other things are happening, that's really powerful. So that's the anchor of our relationship.
And how does this integration increase collaboration within a production facility?
If you don't have a MAM, you've basically got a series of numbered files, 3201.mov, and that's not so helpful. The moment you move into an environment where there's more than one person working together, metadata becomes absolutely crucial. Nowhere is the benefit of metadata felt more than in a modern broadcaster or media enterprise. So what you need to do is have to take all the things that are associated with moving the daily content out of the way, getting the new content into the system, and helping all the things be published and placed where they need to be, getting all of that in place. And to me, that's the important part, because what happens is, if you start to rely on people to manage that, systems break down. If you have an orchestrated workflow system, it just happens.
Can you tell us a little bit about the features that Dalet has with Adobe to enhance the production workflow?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is just making media available. So if an editor sits down and we've got the extend panel sitting right there, what they're able to do is browse all the media. They're not thinking about where is it high res, is it low res, but they can work with the proxies. They can also bring it in and work with the high resolution media or do a hybrid workflow where they're working with the proxies and conforming to the high res. What's also interesting is because of the workflow integration that sits on top of that, it's not just the media, which is obviously important, but you can actually trigger different workflow steps. So somebody might just be publishing something back, but it might trigger other steps in the equation. So to me, that's the most important thing. The editor stays focused on doing what they're doing, telling amazing stories, and all of the stuff around that that has to happen, the ingest, the export, all of those things can be controlled by the Dalet system.
What's the benefit of connecting a media asset management system with an Nrcs, Newsroom control system, attaching that to the Adobe suite?
So we can start this idea of setting up projects that are associated with rundown items and actually connect out the entire workflow so that when the person's finished, the Newsroom system is aware that that story that the person's crafted is available and ready to go.
A lot of our news customers are talking about remote editing, and what kind of functionality does Dalet and Adobe have for them?
So one of the great things is a media object inside of a Premiere Pro project can actually have multiple representations of the media. We can point at the high resolution media to conform, but we can also point at the Dalet proxy so people can work integrated into that pipeline. So that way you could actually have people sharing proxies in different locations and actually riffing on the collaborative editing remotely in different cities and actually having the conform happen back where the media is.
Why is the Dalet Adobe integration a compelling story for customers?
Now we've got these file-based workflows. Now we have the metadata on top. Workflow orchestration seems to be one of the hottest tickets so that things can happen automatically instead of manually. So the more things are automated, the better they are. I think the last area that we're just scratching the surface on is how does machine learning and artificial intelligence play into this world? We released a few features this cycle that are actually powered by what Adobe calls Sensei. That's our jazzy marketing word for machine learning. But if we start to look at media coming from all these disparate sources, normalizing all of that content is something that machines can be really good at. So we can look at how did a human correct that tens of thousands of times and produce an algorithm that gets people to the starting line. So for me, what that does is it takes the drudgery out of content creation and keeps all the energy focused on creativity. And we'll be pushing our teams very hard to look at that. My metaphor for what we build is I'm not the artist, I'm not the canvas, I'm the paintbrush in the middle. And the better that experience is, the more creative the person will be, the better storyteller they'll be. But if you give somebody a crufty old paintbrush and ask them to paint a good picture, it doesn't work. So my metaphor, strangely, is you help us make a better paintbrush.